Hey guys, this message is mostly for our parents at the Underground Strength Gym, but it's good for the athletes to watch this as well. Holding up a great book called Relentless. It's from Tim Grover. I love that book. It's stories about the predominantly in basketball. He trained guys like Michael Jordan, about the work ethic and the dedication and the commitment to excellence in all areas of life. Now, we train a lot of wrestlers, but this is applicable to all of our athletes. So I want to get into what is really the best success formula for off-season and in-season training, but it's going to be a little bit directed towards our wrestlers. But again, it's for anybody. So my daughter plays basketball and tennis. It would be for her. My son is doing a little bit of wrestling, a lot of baseball. We're going to do a little bit of gymnastics. But once you get into that 8th grade and high school time, this is crucial. So number one, I always encourage, don't stop training in season. It's the worst thing you can do. Why would you do all of this work in the off season to get stronger, more confident, faster, more explosive, put on the muscle? And this very thing that gives you an advantage, now you stop doing it. It's crazy. You always have time, right? A lot of people say we just don't have the time. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. But even many of our in-season athletes, they don't just train once a week. Ethan Diamond and many others are coming more than once a week. They just don't train for a full hour. So I've always said that when it comes to the in-season, that first month we could get a little bit more volume in. We could get a little more work in. Once the season starts to drag on and your body starts to feel the aches and the pains, excuse me, then we start lowering the volume and we do what's called optimal training. We never train maximally, maybe in the deep off season, like in the summertime when there's no competitions going on. But we do what's called optimal, where the training must feed the sport skill. It never takes away from it. So if you're training once a week, that's 100% more than zero. If you stop training, well, by the end of your sport season, which is about 12 weeks, you have now completely lost all of that strength you've worked for. Your child has certainly lost confidence and doesn't have that belief in him or herself. And sometimes the younger kids don't really understand that so much, but I'll tell you what, it happens because I recall, looking back to when I began training in late 8th grade, how much more confident I felt compared to who I was before I was introduced to lifting weights and calisthenics and getting strong. It's tremendous. And a lot of our kids lack self-belief, and it's because they don't do things that build their confidence. Getting strong is the ultimate confidence builder. So number one, you have to train in season. If you're not training in season, there's so many times I keep saying to myself, I think I'm just going to run the Underground Strength Gym as a all-year option. You pay for the year in full, and you're dedicated in full. But the strange thing is, I'm sure people would still not show up even if they paid. Number two, this comes to the common thing we've done. And by the way, Underground Strength Gym in Manasquan is 6 years old. I signed the lease on December 1st, 6 years ago, right after Hurricane Sandy. So number two, the Sunday morning workouts. We have a lot of wrestlers that want to train on Sunday morning, and then it's at 9 a.m., and then they go to a wrestling club for 10 a.m. That leaves them with no days off, which I'm very much opposed to. You don't get stronger when you're not rested, when you're not eating properly, when you don't get not just the physical rest, but also the mental and emotional break. There's part of me that's toying with the idea of not being open Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. because I remember what it's like to be in high school. On Sundays, you want to sleep in till 10, 11 a.m. Boys especially tend to need that sleep a little bit more than the girls. Not that girls shouldn't sleep in, but that Sunday morning, if you're not sleeping in, it does impact your recovery ability. And then they show up kind of groggy, they didn't have anything to eat for breakfast, then they go to a wrestling club, and by the time they eat their first meal on a Sunday, it's 12:30 or 1 o'clock, which is not good for athletes. So what I'd like to offer an idea, and parents just email me, let me know your thoughts. We have 6 p.m. workouts across the week except for Fridays. Monday tends to be a day when most are not competing. What if you just showed up? If you're truly running late at 6:30, most of you have no problem showing up at 6 o'clock. And I emphasize, you do not need to show up if it's in season at 6 on the dot. We're going to do a shorter warm-up with you, and then we're going to do a shorter workout. Remember, it's an optimal workout. What are my kids going to do when they get to high school? Twice a week, about 25-minute, maybe 30-minute strength and conditioning sessions. And when I say strength and conditioning, parents, what I really mean is performance training, because that's an opportunity for us to work on anything we need to with regards to performance. Their mindset, maybe they need more strength, maybe they need more speed, maybe they're losing muscle and I have to adjust the repetitions and different exercises to help them keep that muscle. We never do maintenance work. That's one of the weakest phrases ever. We're focused on improvement. We're focused on getting better. And that's the key for us all the time. If we're doing maintenance, I can't imagine you being happy investing in us and me saying, oh, we're just going to maintain what we did. There's no way we're maintaining. We're always aiming at improvement and getting better. So proper nutrition is going to be the next thing I'm going to talk about. For those of you wrestlers that are trying to make a weight class, I am more of the favor of the athlete who is able to eat up to his weight class and never has to skip a meal, and after a workout can go and have a very big dinner, and then later on that night have another meal, or maybe they want to have a protein shake. Now, protein shakes sometimes, they're not the best, but for the athletes who are trying to gain weight, they taste good. And a lot of times that's super important to make an athlete feel good when they're going through the stress of an in-season, right? They eat with their eyes and their taste buds. So if the food is very bland, no good. So these athletes, your kids, our athletes, they need to have tasty foods that are strong and healthy. So meats are going to be great. Beef is great because of all the vitamins and minerals that are in beef. And then carbohydrates that are easy to digest. So I boil a lot of small potatoes. Rice, white rice tends to be very good on the digestive system. And peppers and onions tend to be very good mixed in there. It adds great flavor and great taste. Lots of fruit throughout the in-season, lots of water. Morning should get a little bit of orange juice so we get some simple sugars in the body. But we need to make sure that your child is not starving himself in the process when they need to fuel the body to perform. Everything should be based around performance. So here is the ultimate thing up in the air. I would like to see in-season athletes have at least one day off. So we have a lot of swimmers that we train, and many of them, even in middle school, are doing double sessions 3 times a week. Their training sessions are pretty long, oftentimes 2 hours on average. And I'm always completely impressed and amazed that they could swim and show up at the underground, or they swim in the morning at 5:30 a.m., then they go through all their training and schoolwork and then swim again. It's a lot. So what I would like to see with our wrestlers and swimmers and our athletes who have this kind of normal routine of high intensity, Sunday should be a complete day off. And you might be saying as a wrestler, well, I got to go to the wrestling club on Sunday morning. Sometimes I ask, how much more wrestling can you add on top of your 6 days a week wrestling? The answer is, it depends. I know some of the teams are great in the area. Some of the teams are not great and they get not so good instruction. All right, I'm not going to call out which teams those are, but maybe those teams that don't get the greatest instruction or the workouts are not hard, you probably have to get to a club if you want to get better, because unfortunately what you're experiencing at your high school is not good enough. If you have a great high school team, then Sundays might be a time to sleep in and get that extra food. Saturday early afternoon, catch a nap. Most kids don't take a nap because of this thing, the smartphone. So we need to share this video with our kids. Can they watch a 10-minute video without having to go to Instagram? And just the recovery of kids is different today than it was of my years, because at 10 o'clock it was lights out. I didn't have a phone to play with that night. Some of your kids are liking our Instagram posts at midnight and 1 a.m., which means they're sleeping 5 or 6 hours. That's a great way to break your body down and be weak. Our kids need 8 hours of sleep minimum. I know it's hard with all the runaround that they do. And then Saturday and Sunday, they need a nap. Sunday morning, they need to sleep in. And Sunday night, they need to get to bed early. So parents, shoot me an email if you want me to do the Sundays at 9 a.m. Really, any time outside of Sunday at 9 a.m. tends to not work. The middle of the day is no good because parents were running around doing errands, maybe relaxing, God forbid, cooking, cleaning, shopping. And then Sunday evenings, I've just found that people are exhausted. And sometimes parents, we need a break with all of the runaround. So Sundays at 9 a.m. would be the time. Email me if that's something of interest. And Mondays is when I'm there. And I think that's a very important day because there tends to be minimal competitions on Monday, minimal games on Monday, whatever sport you're in. So Monday, if you could get there by 6:30, you are good. If you need to show up later, send me a text message. Don't email me because I don't check emails while I'm coaching the athletes. And if you have questions, undergroundstrengthcoach@gmail.com for the parents of our athletes. But our nutrition, our sleep, and 1 day off is so crucial. You got to train in season. If you don't train in season and you say you don't have time, I question what kind of dedication that is. It's just kind of like, it makes no sense to train in the off season and quit every in season. And this is a big reason why I went back to teaching, is I want to get inside the schools with strength and conditioning so they're not being forced to train with a unprofessional, uneducated coach who doesn't know what he's doing in the weight room. And also, I did not want the Manasquan Underground Strength Gym to be at all about money, meaning I can run the gym privately with 7 kids. And why is that the case? Because I'm focused on doing what's best for the kids. And I've seen it year after year after year. You got to remember, I started working with athletes basically on a full-time basis, 6 days a week since 2002. So I've seen a lot. And what do our most successful athletes do? Do they quit in season or do they train in season? They train in season. And they have their best seasons because they keep getting better. Who tends to fall short of their goals or fall short of their potential? The athletes who stop training in season because mom and dad are so scared. They're too busy and they're so scared that once a week training is too much. That's when we start thinking our kids are so fragile. What I've talked about in this video is optimal training, not maximal training. And I didn't mention that the kids are fragile. But if we train the right way, eat the right way, sleep the right way, your child can be a powerhouse if all those things are done correctly. And it takes a lot of work. That's the bottom line. Okay, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Holiday season is upon us. Any questions? Shoot me an email or a text message. Thanks, everybody.